name's Kieran McDonald. My girlfriend is originally from Barrow, so we decided to move here and just start a family basically. But when we moved up here, like, there was not really a skate scene, there was nothing really happening. I'd go out all the time skating and not really see anyone, so it was just one of them things where it was just nothing was really happening, and I kind of felt like where I come from in Huddersfield, it's got such a thriving scene. There's a lot going on, there's events, there's crews, there's stuff happening all the time. And I just kind of wanted to bring that vibe to Barrow. It was pretty hard at the beginning, like obviously being a stranger, not from Barrow, trying to convince people to come and skate. Like everyone was so a bit like, oh, I don't know. But yeah, eventually got the trust of some people. And yeah, it kind of really all birthed out of a DIY that we was building. We found like a plot of land and started building on it, some ramps made out of concrete. Then more and more the word spread and more people came in, and then I was teaching them how to mix concrete, how to make ramps, and then yeah, skate weird stuff basically. And then the people that came and helped became Barrer Cvlt basically. Most people say that I kind of helped rebirth it all, but I'm like too humble for that stuff. So I'm just like, yeah, it kind of happened at the right time at the right place, I guess.
And so with your skating, like what was your sort of personal journey with it? Like what age did you sort of get into it and like that kind of thing?
Well, growing up, I grew up on a council estate. There wasn't a lot to do. I kind of was a bit of a troublemaker. I hung around with the wrong crowds, and some of my mates were getting into serious stuff. The ones that I kind of grew up with on my estate, they was getting into more serious stuff. And I think it's when I started going to high school that I was like introduced to like different people that wasn't in my area. And I got on really well with this lad called Alex, and he was a skateboarder. And I was slowly starting to like transition from listening to kind of hip-hoppy music to more like kind of metal music, and like he listened to that kind of stuff. So then he got me more into like, we could talk about bands and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, have you ever tried skateboarding? And I was like, not really, but I wouldn't mind it. And like the next day I came to school and like brought me a full setup. It was like a toy machine setup. And I think after that, then like after school we went skating, like he was teaching me how to skate, and I was just addicted from day one. Then that was it. Like anything else that was happening in my back home or like what was going on the estate, like I wasn't interested in anymore. Like I just found this and I was like, this is what I want to do. It's just always been something so positive in my life, and I couldn't imagine not skateboarding.
A lot of people sort of find that with skating that it's sort of like almost like a ritualistic thing in their lives because it has such a draw and it's such a sort of pull. It has such a pull to it because it helps so many people with like mental health and regulating moods and stuff. Do you feel like it's the same for you?
Yeah, well, I went through a pretty rough patch with depression, idleness, and like alcoholism, bit of drug abuse and stuff like that. And same thing with like skateboarding, like kind of pulled me back through all that. Like my friends through that, kind of pulled me through that. That all kind of happened is I was hit by a car and I broke my neck, and then after that I kind of went downhill. Like I wasn't meant to walk or skate again. Like I'd literally like separated my neck from my body. Just told the doctors, is like, there's no chance I'm not skating. So skateboarding helped me like throughout all that. They say your friends are your family, but like your skate family is like the ultimate family. Like they will really pull through for you. Like it's really nice.
On that note, what sort of motivates you to keep developing Barrer Cvlt?
I think because Barrow doesn't really have a lot going for itself. Like there's not enough art and culture being pushed within Barrow, and like anybody can pick up a skateboard and start going for it, you know what I mean? And it's just building it up. And you know, like I said, when I first started skateboarding here, there was no one really. There was a couple of lads and I had like brought them together, and now there's like a full scene now. The Cumbria Coven's just started, which is like a massive female skate scene, which Barrer Cvlt sparks that a little bit. Just seeing that is just such a wonderful thing. Like just seeing so many female skaters just going around skating and like breaking that barrier and mold of like, you know, skateboarding is just for men. It's just built something way bigger than I ever thought would happen.
On the note of the sort of creation and the history of it so far, would you be able to tell us a little bit more about that initial period of the DIY skate project and just how skate park stuff and just like how that came to fruition and a little bit more behind the scenes with that?
Well, back home, I've always been into building DIYs. Like we always built DIYs because there was a lot of like wastelands. And when we got here, when I moved here, there was like a lot not far from here in Ormsgo, which is like a disused golf range. And it's been there for absolutely years. And back in the day, someone had built like a quarter pipe there. So I went and looked and the ground was still good. The quarter pipe was still there, but it was smashed up. So I was like, oh, I might just build something. So I built something and left it for a couple of months, went back and it didn't get destroyed. So then I was like, right, it's gonna happen. When I started to get to know people a bit more, I was just like, oh, would you fancy coming to check this DIY that I'm building? Do you wanna like learn how to make concrete? Do you wanna? And it just slowly built from there, and it got really big and really popular, and you know, people was traveling to come and skate it. It like sparked one of the biggest, well, it's probably like the second biggest DIY in London at the moment, called The Grove, and like that was inspired by us building. So they was like messaging me going, oh, how do you mix concrete now? Like they're just like building non-stop. So yeah, so originally we built like a deep quarter pipe, and there's a crew already called Barrer Cvlt, which are like guys that wear balaclavas and skate really tight transitions. And then because we built that and we're from Barrow, we were like, oh, we call it Barrer Cvlt, like as a kind of piece. Yeah, so that was kind of where the name came from when we graffitied the quarter pipe. And it's when they knocked it all down, it was a pretty sad moment. But the one thing that did was that quarter pipe, and the graffiti is still on it and you can still skate it, but it's like, yeah, like that's the only thing standing still.
I've spotted your laptop in the background showing some skate clips.
Yeah, the cul-de-sac video that we released it during like, I think it was like the first lockdown. So this was like another master plan of mine, was after doing some research, there never was a skate video to come out of Barrow. So I slowly started picking guys that I wanted to be part of the video, which obviously was part of Barrer Cvlt, and I was just like, look, we're going to film a video, trust me, like let's do it. And then we filmed it and we released it. I think we released 100 copies that sold out in 6 hours. You know, they went as far as the States, some copies. So, you know, like it's just mental, like I say, like how far Barrer Cvlt has like kind of sparked people's attentions, because nothing really was happening here. And there's this big boom, and there's like being noticed now. You know, some of the lads are getting sponsored by local shops, and you know, we go away on trips. I wanted to incorporate a lot of old footage of Barrow, so there's like a lot of old 70s, 80s, like footage from like BAE days, like, you know, the shipyards and stuff. There's loads of like guys riding on bikes to work, going over the bridge, and I just wanted to incorporate like the old with the new of what's happening. And it was my first ever video to record and edit, so it was like a big task to pull this off, because it was Barrow's first video as well. And it's like, I've never used a camera, well, I've used cameras, never like had a full-on project to do and like edit. If anyone wants to watch it, it is on Vimeo. You just type in Barrer Cvlt cul-de-sac, or you go to our Instagram, and it should be in there.
I think that like the social aspect is a huge deal for you.
I think so. Like, it's always been seen as an anti-social thing. Like, I think only now, with it being in the Olympics, it's going to start turning around for people. People are, you know, we're being approached by the council to put events on, which before we couldn't bring on, but now it's like an Olympic sport. It's like, you know, they're kind of jumping on it a little bit. We can use this Olympic stuff to be like, right, we need a new park, we need a facility. So it's a double-edged sword with it. But yeah, skateboarding's always been seen as an antisocial thing, but like if you actually look close enough to skateboarding, it's got so many avenues to it, like art, fashion, music, videography, photography, you know, your hands-on skills, building, architecture. You know, you're always looking at stuff, and like there's so many avenues to skateboarding. Like if someone actually kind of sat back and saw what skateboarding actually was and what it was about, wouldn't really see it as an antisocial thing.
You have some awesome t-shirts available, one of which you're wearing right now. So could you tell us a bit about what inspired you to create them and sell them?
Well, we originally I started printing like some t-shirts to make money for the DIY, because it was getting costly. I think we probably put about 500 quid's worth of money into the DIY. So yeah, it was kind of one of them things where it was like, oh, we need to kind of come up with something where we can kind of make some money and not put ourselves out of pocket. So I've got like a t-shirt press and a vinyl cutter, and I drew this weird face and wrote Barrer Cvlt, and I was printing them on Asda t-shirts. Yeah, like people bought a couple, so that like bought like some things, and then I think from then like people were just like, oh, we should make t-shirts, we should do some more, you know, we should kind of like do bits. We did the first one which said Barrer Cvlt, which is like a long sleeve. We did one that was like, it was kind of a rip-off of the Barrow Council one, so instead of like Barrow Borough Council, it says Barrer Cvlt Council or whatever it was, but it was like, and then we released one just after the DIY had been smashed, so it's like a picture of the quarter pipe, quite a famous drawing of a kid peeing on something, and he's like peeing on the quarter that says Barrer Cvlt. It was called Piss Take t-shirt, like, because basically it was like a piss take because they knocked it down. And then we released this, it was like the Russian tee. Yeah, I don't know what really inspired me about this. There's quite a funny story in Barrow of a guy that left some stuff in a taxi from BAE, and then he was going to sell it to the KGB, but then it was like a massive sting operation and they arrested him, but he like thought he was like messaging the KGB through Facebook or something, I don't know, but then like guns this so like this was kind of inspired by that as well, so it's like a Russian tee. But yeah, the British Library has released over 5,000 images copyright free, and I just spent full days going through that and just kind of seeing what images I can kind of pinch and transform into what I want. We've got another one coming out soon, which is like a shipwreck, and it just says Barrow Cvlt Cumbria on it.
What advice would you give to someone interested in starting skating?
Just give it a go. It doesn't matter your age, your ability, what people may think of you. Just go give it a go. There's so many people that are wanting to get into skateboarding that are afraid because they think like, oh, I'm not going to be accepted, but like skateboarding is one big family, and just give it a go is what I say.
What does the future hold for Barrer Cvlt?
More merchandise, the crew growing bigger. There's a couple of that kind of shirts with us that, you know, I kind of want to bring them on board. I'm just waiting for the right time when I start seeing them skating in Moore Street. Yeah, we're going to hopefully work on a new video, more trips, and just basically push the skate scene more and more within Barrow and surrounding areas, like kind of show people what skateboarding is all about. But if like anybody wants to come to Barrow and wants to skate with us, like I'll happily come and show them some spots. We just won 500 to build a new DIY, so we're going to be building a new DIY soon, which is all a bit, like I said before, a bit underground, like we have to keep hush-hush about it all. But if people want to get involved with that, they can just send us an inbox, and then whenever we're going to build, they can tag along. I can show them the ropes, how to mix and stuff like that, just like before, really. But yeah, feel free to get in contact.